Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Iancast. I want to start this week by talking about Tesla, kind of going off what I was saying in my written update last week. And that is that they're making huge progress in China. They just opened their Gigafactory there a couple months ago. And after some time, just making sure all the equipment worked right, that they could make the cars correctly, just general regulatory stuff, they're now making 1,000 cars a week at this factory, which is very impressive considering it just opened a couple months ago. And on January 7th, that's the day that they're expected to start shipping these cars to customers. So they're making huge progress there. Obviously, Tesla stock is still on fire. It was over $430 yesterday after being down around $180, $190 in May and June. So here we are 7-8 months later, and really nobody saw this coming. Very few people. Paul and I, of course, were very bullish the whole time on Tesla, but if you could sense the attitude back then, it was very bearish. The stock was going to zero. The company was going bankrupt. But now here we are 7-8 months later, and the stock is over 100% higher than it was. So Tesla, we are still very bullish on it. They're making huge progress. The Model Y is being made ahead of schedule. So it's really looking great for Tesla. Bitcoin, not much news has come out about that other than 2020. Obviously, we believe that Bitcoin is going to have a great year with the halving coming up in May. Drops the supply, as we know, as we've touched on many times over the past couple months. But another thing that I want to remind everybody of is that Bitcoin is such a huge demanded investment from millennials and from Gen Z. It's actually the fifth most owned stock. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the ticker is GBTC, the fifth most owned stock for millennial retirement accounts. And so that is a huge tell that Bitcoin is going to have years and years, generations of demand ahead of it from the millennials and from Gen Z. And the supply, on the other hand, is going down, which is a recipe for the price, of course, to go up. So looking very bright for Bitcoin too, even though we've been kind of flat for a while. We believe that long-term Bitcoin is going to do very, very well. And I also want to go over in a little bit more detail pot stocks today because 2019 was such a roller coaster for them. January, they were up basically in a straight line. Then they went up a little bit more in February, March. A lot of them peaked out in March and April. And then they basically went down in a straight line for the last 8-9 months of the year. So pot stocks, there's so much pessimism baked into these stocks. It's really crazy, just the negativity surrounding them. And it's kind of the opposite of what we saw before, where it was a crowded trade. There wasn't any more demand at those really, really inflated prices. But now it's the opposite. So nobody's in pot stocks, hardly anyone. And that's a recipe for a lot of money to come back in that's already sold out, to come back in and push the prices back up. And it's not going to take a lot for that to happen because really any kind of demand at all at this point would do that. And the demand will come in once these companies have shown that all the rumors and things are not true. And I'm going to show you this chart of just the negativity in one image, the best kind of way that I could portray this negativity in one image. And that is the sales estimates for these companies has gone down. The average here between March 31st and now for 2020 sales for these marijuana companies has gone down over 30% on average. So it's not going to take a lot to beat that. And in fact, this huge report just came out that said global marijuana sales are set to go up 853% from 2018 to 2024, reaching a point of $103.9 billion worth of sales around the world in 2024. So that is a huge industry, but that's just the beginning because these stocks, just marijuana in general, is starting to disrupt what we call the old vice economy, tobacco and alcohol, and transitioning into what we call the new vice economy, which is marijuana. In the United States, the states that have legalized marijuana on a recreational level have seen huge drops in tobacco use, and actually on a countrywide scale, we're seeing the lowest recorded tobacco use of all time. And there was also this really, really detailed report that went county by county in the places that have legalized marijuana on a recreational level. And it found that alcohol sales in those counties has declined 20% since marijuana was legalized. So we're really seeing huge disruption here already. And like I said in that report, 853% growth after that, then global sales would be $104 billion. But in the United States, tobacco and alcohol combined are already a $2 trillion market. So there is a lot of room for marijuana to disrupt. There's a lot of room for these stocks to grow. And when we're seeing like peak pessimism, like we are right here with these stocks, which is signified by that 30 to 40% on average sales forecast cut for 2020, then we're going to see a situation unfold where it's not going to take a lot. These companies are all reporting in January, February, and March, and we expect very good things to happen from those reports. We expect that these sales cuts or the forecast cuts are overblown. These sales are going to blow right by them, and the stocks are going to rebound because, like I said, it's not going to take a lot at this point to bring demand back into these stocks. So as I've said before, MJ, which is the marijuana ETF, I believe that's going to double this year. And we just see a really, really, really strong year for marijuana stocks in general, and just a strong future because we're seeing a huge growth. Still, like over the past couple of years, these companies have gone from barely any sales at all to now these companies are valued at billions and billions of dollars, and they're making hundreds of millions of dollars of sales per year. It's a very fast-growing industry, yet the stocks have just completely crashed. And so we expect that to really rebound this year and going forward in the future. And that is all that I have this week. I hope everybody had a great holiday, great Christmas, great New Year's, and I hope everybody enjoys their weekend this year, the first weekend in 2020. And I will see everybody next week.